they were looking for a DJ. And I was like, oh yeah, I can DJ. I wasn't very good at this point. I just improved so much because I was playing for 5 hours every other week. Definitely a lot more money in electronic music, which I think is a bit of a shame.
Why?
Because I think it could kill live music.
Hello and welcome back to Sound Advice. I'm joined this week by local DJ Mia Mai. Mia, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. It's really good to have you on the podcast.
Well, thank you for having me.
So, let's start a bit more like at the beginning. Like, tell me a bit about your journey in music.
I come from a classical background. Played piano for a very long time, and then I started learning the harp. I got the harp because when my gran died, she left me some money. And I bought a harp with it. Otherwise, I definitely wouldn't have been able to afford it. It's a very expensive instrument. And then in lockdown, I started listening to electronic music. And I bought some decks. That's a little tiny controller. Still got the same one. And then I turned 18, started going to raves and things. And yeah, and then I was like, I came to uni, did music at uni, and now I started mixing DJing and then mixing classical music into that as well.
Yeah. So it's sort of, you said the classical background was first and then DJing was something that came out through lockdown. What sort of gear did you get in lockdown?
I was just bored. I just wanted something to do, and I used to like DJ for my parents. It would just be like me, my mum, and my dad. My brother and my sister wouldn't even come down because they didn't think I was very good. And put on some like disco lights in our living room and have a little party. I didn't really get very good at DJing until I got to uni, and then I started like playing with my friend George at a house party, and then after that I was like, oh, I really want to do this, so I joined the society and things and learned how to DJ.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, so are there like specific artists and people that you were inspired by to like get started DJing?
When I started, I felt like most DJs do this. You start, unless you already really know a lot about dance music, which I don't really think I did. I started off mixing tech house, and I don't really like tech house anymore. But so I liked Chris Lorenzo, Michael Beebe and stuff. But then as like my music taste developed, I started listening to more like IDM and ambient music and techno and stuff. So now like I play like a lot of techno, but I liked like High and Elka and John Hopkins. They're like my top 3. Yeah. But, no, I definitely started off like more like mainstream and then kind of found like more underground artists as I went through.
Yeah. Do you think that that classical background like has influenced like your taste in the way you sort of see electronic music, if that makes sense?
Yeah, definitely. Like I was actually talking to my housemate about this yesterday. Like we were watching a DJ set, and he was talking about in classical music we do this thing called dovetailing. You knew about dovetailing, obviously, and then it was like the same as mixing. That you're taking bits out and like layering it. Like the basics of music are still there. It's just one's electronic, one's classical. You know, different.
Yeah. So you sort of picked this up over lockdown, and then I'm guessing moved to uni the year later.
I took a year out of uni, and like I took a year out before uni, gap year, and then when the clubs started reopening and festivals and stuff. I just started like going to see loads of DJs, and I really liked the energy and like the flow. Like you stay dancing for quite a long period of time, and the DJ's got to provide a space to do that. So yeah, I really got into electronic music, and then classical music kind of took a bit of the back burner until I came to uni, and then I kind of came together a bit.
Mm. So you moved here to study music at uni. How did you sort of find that transition, and like was there like a similar club scene where you grew up or something that you
I'm from Bath, so the club scene there is not great, but Bristol's really cool and it's near Bristol. So when I came to Liverpool, I was like, whoa, there's so much going on, this is crazy. And then I found 24 Kitchen Street and I worked there. I just like really liked it and started going there quite a lot and stuff. But yeah, no, the club scene is very different back home. Me and my friends from home, we would go to Bristol, or even I went to Manchester once when I was like 17. And the blinding confidence of a 17-year-old is crazy, but yeah, no, the club scene here is very different to where I come from.
Yeah, I love the difference. I've spoken to people on this from, like, I'm from like a village, but like people from like smaller places, and like how they see Liverpool and the music scene compared to like when you interview someone from London, and they're like, oh, I just came and there's like no music scene here, there's nothing going on, and like I feel like there's still people like us who've come here and like, wow, this is like amazing, you know. So how did you sort of approach like building a DJ career here? Is that something that you always wanted to do, was like play at club sets and stuff?
Yeah, there's lots of different things. So the first thing I did was I joined the DJ Society, and then I started playing in the student union a little bit. And the previous president, his DJ name is Bobble D, he helped me out a lot. Like, we went to Pirate Studios together. And then through Monkey Lamp, this was kind of lucky, like, because they were on the music course and they were just like trying to find a DJ. And there aren't actually that many DJs on the music course, which is surprising. But they were looking for a DJ, and I was like, oh yeah, I can DJ. Like, I wasn't very good at this point. I've been doing quite a few house parties, but like it's very different playing on a controller, which is like a small thing you have in your room, to like club standard CDJs. So then I started playing for them in the Jacaranda basement, and I did that alongside Mariella, for a year. And I just improved so much because I was playing for 5 hours every other week. So I just was practicing so much. But that was kind of quite lucky. I don't really think there was much skill based there. That was kind of just like, I knew some people running a night and they didn't really know many DJs. So that was quite lucky. And then I got a job at 24 Kitchen Street. And so I was like seeing so many more DJ sets, which was like improving my sets because I was seeing how they mix and stuff and listening to it all the time. And especially when you're like working on the bar, it's a lot more, it's not as fun as being on the floor. So you pay more attention to the music, I suppose. And then, yeah, I started getting sets through them and through the girls' crib as well. It's just who you know. And if you like start going to events and meeting people, saying, oh yeah, like I play this and stuff, and then if you're nice enough, they'll give you a chance. It's just kind of how it happened, yeah.
I mean, you mentioned quite a few different student opportunities, like the DJ Society that we have at the University of Liverpool and like Monkey Lamp and stuff. But sort of, how do you sort of approach meeting the right people, maybe outside of the student experience? Because not everyone has that.
Yeah. Going to events, I think, is the biggest thing, especially in Liverpool. It's not that big. Like, in London, you're never going to meet all the creators because it's huge, and same with Manchester. But because Liverpool is quite small, and there's a lot of like intimate clubs here, like Meraki and 24 Kitchen Street, and you have things going on Seal Street and stuff. And obviously Melodic was a huge part of the community and still is, even though it's not up and running anymore. I just went to events and I started meeting people, and I'd watch people's sets, and then I'd talk to them afterwards, and I felt quite shy doing that at first, but then like you'd know one person and they'd introduce you to someone else, and everyone was just really nice and friendly, and I never felt so welcomed in a musical space before. So yeah, that's kind of how it happened.
Yeah, that's really good. You mentioned Melodic Distraction. That is something I was going to speak about. It was a Melodic Distraction, for anyone who doesn't know, there's like a radio station that existed here in Liverpool that featured a lot of like up-and-coming DJs and creators and stuff. It's quite a significant platform for local DJs. How do you sort of think its closure will impact like the local music scene?
I think Melodic lives on, like, because even though they can make it work because of so many like artistic funding and stuff, and it's so unfair. That community is still there and it still exists, and they still made something amazing. I think it does impact a lot because Melodic had such a they would give out opportunities and you wouldn't even know, like they would put you forward for something and you didn't even know that they'd done that, and having people on their shows and like putting on events there and stuff. Because it's quite a small venue, like big radio wise, but in venue wise, quite small. Like they just were really good at platforming people, and I don't think I'd be where I am without them. And I was only part of it whilst I lived in Liverpool, and it had been going on a lot longer than I've been here. But I think that community still exists. I feel like there's a bit of a hole in Liverpool right now. I don't know, people are feeling the loss of melodic, but I think that community carries on. I think the community's a bit like wore down at the moment in Liverpool, but I think there's lots of people trying to push it back up and like restore some hope and get the creatives together.
Yeah, I think one of the great things about Melodic is that I feel like they've touched so many different people who are like within the music space. Because like even myself, who's not like someone who was like a DJ myself or like trying to do sets on Melodic or anything like that. I was in Radio Society uni, and there was like a sort of like planning day where you like get to learn a bit more like how to use the decks and how to like make your craft like a radio show and like present and stuff. And they had 2 people come down for that and like just teach everyone all day, just like, and I don't think they got paid or anything. I think they just turned up out goodness, really.
So
and
good.
and like, I don't think it's it's maybe not as direct, but like I think that like Radio Society is one of the and like the stuff they taught me is like some of the first stuff that got me into like speaking and like doing interviews and having conversations. That kind
definitely.
I feel like I think you're right. Like the legacy will definitely live on because of all the people that they've sort of touched and worked with over the years that are going to continue doing great stuff, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's very sad that Melodic's not there anymore, but like you said, the legacy lives on.
Yeah. What do you think of the sort of alternative platforms that still exist that are great for DJs in the local scene?
There's quite a few, I would say. I work for a collective called Queensway, and we platform women, LGBTQI plus and non-binary people. And we're running DJ workshops at the moment, so we're doing quite a lot to build the community. You've got like a lot of more student-based collectives like Sell Your Sound. They're like more tech house. Blue Rabbit play like a lot of garage, and Blue Rabbit usually raise money for mental health charities. So it's run by a girl called Willa, and she's great. I think there are a lot of collectives. There's like Chop Life, which is more like Amapiano and Afrobeat. Just trying off the top of my head, my head's gone blank. I can't think of them, but I think there are definitely a lot, and I see the collectors in Liverpool trying to put new people on and support people, and it's really cool to see and that stuff. And like the UOL DJ Sock and the LJMU DJ Sock, and then there's that, which is more like they're like a bit more on the crazy side of dance music, like hard tech, gabba, donk, drum and bass. D&B Lab are the big drum and bass ones, and they do like live streams in the kitchen, and they get people on to do the live streams, which is like gives whoever's on a lot of social media content and stuff. So yeah, I'd say there's quite a lot going on in Liverpool.
Yeah, no, that's a good list. I mean, one thing I want to touch on is that I think a lot of those names won't be as familiar to like people living in the city and like some of the people we've spoken to before, because we've sort of spoken very much on like an artist band level, and like the sort of local gig scene, playing more places like this and like Jacaranda and venues like that. What do you think are like the main differences in like the DJ scene and the band scene here in Liverpool?
Well, it's just different. It's different crowds of people, because I find not always, but often people who like more indie and rock and band music don't like dance music as much. Like people who like dance music tend to like it quite a lot, and I also find that there's often a theme of like neurodivergency within dance music, because it's like constant and stimulating, so it tends to attract neurodivergent people quite a lot. So yeah, it's just different crowds, and it's like different time scales as well. Like dance music usually is like 10 till 4, band music's usually like 8 till 12 at different times of the day. and yeah, different venues. And obviously you can get like bar DJs, and we've done a couple events in here and one at Hope Street as well. But yeah, I think it's just different preferences and different crowds, and so like I think there's the big circle of music in the live scene, and a big circle in the electronic scene, and they do like cross over, but it's just about the people who attend them. They've just got different preferences.
Do you think I think one of the things I'm trying to get at is it like a similar process, say for example, booking gigs, as it would be for a band, or is there like differences there of how you approach that?
Well, I think if you're in a band, you're kind of expected to like have music released or like can send over demos. And if you're a DJ, you get asked to send over a mix, which you usually have on SoundCloud, or you'll record a mix to send to a promoter. But I think both of them are largely work on word of mouth. And it's nice to know that that's still like a big thing within music. It's not like totally dominated by social media, but I think it is also a lot of social media. But I feel like the booking process for DJing would be sending off mixes to promoters, and then you usually get booked through Instagram, sometimes email as well. I think there's a lot more money in electronic music than there is in live music, and especially because you're just like one person playing usually, or maybe two people. The fee is usually a lot higher. Like with a band, you might get 50 quid between the band, but with a DJ, you might get that per hour. So there is definitely a lot more money in electronic music, which I think is a bit of a shame.
Why?
Because it means it's more accessible for like in some ways, but I think it's a shame because I think it could kill live music if it like at some point, because you have to do a lot more in live music to start earning money than you do in electronic music. I think there's easier ways to. I just think there's more opportunities to do commercial gigs and stuff. But when you're in a band, there's so many more of you, and you've got to like pay for your transport of the equipment. And when you're a DJ, you just bring a USB and your headphones. Like that's all you bring. So I think I'd like to see there be more balance between the both, because like also with the DJing rates like going through the roof, it's making it really hard for clubs to stay open and keep these spaces available, because like some DJs would charge 10 grand for a set, like, and I just think that's gone too far. That's like footballer money.
I mean, it's interesting because I did a placement at 24 Kit Street a while ago, and one of the things they mentioned a bit is the impact of like Brexit on that, because like a lot of DJs who were doing it sort of like on like the city club circuit level, maybe like if they were doing that as their like freelance career, let's say, they would lockdown came and they sort of a lot of them left and found other jobs, and then that meant that there was sort of a moment of like the prices going up for booking DJs because there were less of them at the time, and then the prices go up and it incentivizes more people to sort of join the scene, right?
Yeah, well, I think some people do it for the money, some people because they love the music, but
Which one are you?
I love the music, but the money is nice. That being said, though, I've done so much stuff for free, like, and you have to if you want to get somewhere. I'd say like 50% of my gigs I do for free right now, especially like with the like running the DJ stock and stuff. Like, if someone drops out, then I can't find anyone, then I'll play. Or like charity events and things, but I still enjoy it, so it's okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's something I was speaking about on the last episode, is sort of where do you sort of find the balance where you do free gigs to get the opportunities, which is obviously a good thing, but then you want to sort of avoid being like almost devaluing yourself and being seen as an artist that plays for free. How do you sort of strike that balance?
It's a very difficult balance to strike. I think I'm still figuring that out. I think at a minimum, try and make sure that you don't lose any money. So like, if they're saying, oh, we've got this budget and stuff, you can be like, okay, well, I'll play for free, but I need you to cover my transport. Is a good way to start. I think another way is to like put your fee high and then be like, okay, but for you, I'll do it lower. That's like a bit of a industry trick, isn't it? But
That's quite a good trick, actually. I don't think I've really heard that one before.
Yeah.
So that's something that happens a lot.
yeah, I think it does happen a lot. I don't know. I think you have to like obviously you have to buy your songs and you have to buy your equipment. So there is like a big cost to DJing, especially when you get started. Like, you will lose a lot of money at the start. Because a song is like £1, and if you need like 30 songs to 50 songs for a set, like that. Obviously you use those songs again, but you are buying your tunes and spending money on that. So, and your travel as well. Like usually, if you're going to a club and you're playing at night, then you're gonna get a taxi home because of safety and stuff. But yeah, people usually, I think people who are like making money from DJing and like having it as like a side degree or side hustle as their freelance career, like they'll they'll say a high rate and then they'll like negotiate and make somebody think that they've got a really good deal, even though that was like probably their original rate. But yeah, no, I think to find the balance between doing stuff for free and not, you have to be curious about what the event is and what it stands for. Because if it's an event for charity and your morals align with the charity that the money's going for, then that's very different to like a promoter saying this is a new thing and we haven't got a big budget. And I think there's a lot of like tokenism issues. Like I wouldn't play for free on an all-male lineup, for example, because I'd be like, well, I'm just put on here for like diversity reasons, so I would like probably charge more. But if it was like an all-female, non-binary LGBTQIA+ lineup, then I would be more inclined to like reduce my rate because it's more of like a community perspective that aligns with like what I want from the music scene. So
Yeah, and I guess that's also part of like how you build like a bigger brand. It's like sort of deciphering and like building an idea of what you stand for. It's really interesting actually, because I mean, it's one of the things I love about doing this podcast is that there's like just meeting different people and having different perspectives. Like I never would have thought about the fact that if you're as a female DJ being told that there's a like, can you play for free at this all male lineup?
yeah, no chance.
And that's just something that now that you said it makes total sense, and I never would have thought of that. One thing I wanted to talk about is that so last November you put on your own event at the Quarry called Mia Mai and Friends, where what you did is you managed to sort of blend electronic music with some of your more classical roots. Can you tell me a bit more about that?
That was a very special night to us. So how I did it is I plugged my harp into a pedal board and we were playing along to a Logic track. So it had harp with pedal board, bass and drums. And that was like the first half. And then the second half was guitar, drums and decks. And so for the first half, we played along to a Logic backing track, which I had made. And Tom Porter, the drummer, was following along the backing track. And he had the click in his in-ears so that we were like on time. And then it started off without any backing track. And it started off like quite meditative and slow and then kind of got heavier. And then I was DJing and I had some harp recordings that were going through the decks alongside the guitar and drums. So it was and we had DJs either side. So that was, a bit of a classical electronic fusion. It's still very much like a project we're working on. We're going to record that night as an album.
Wow, that's really cool.
It'll be good. And then the band's looking a bit different now. It's going to be myself, Tom Porter and Mariella. And I haven't come up with a name yet because it was called Mia Mai and Friends because like I wrote quite a lot of the music and stuff. And that was like, I kind of like organised that show and put it together. So that's why it was called Mia Mai and Friends. But now it's like more of a collaborative project that it needs an actual name that's not just my name. But yeah, our focus on this is trying to like fuse the scenes a bit together because there are a lot of like, that I was saying earlier, the live scene and the electronic scene is not that together, and it was nice to see some people that I know from the DJ world and some people like who I know from the music, like live music world, and they're all together in the same space. And like as a band, we prioritize safe spaces for the audience. So we talked about like where you can get earplugs and water and like respecting everyone's space. And like I wanted to invite everyone into the space to give them autonomy of it rather than just like starting and like I wanted to basically just kind of establish like a community sense of safety within the crowd, so that like, because the music was kind of designed for emotional processing, because that's what I find about dance music is that sometimes like if I'm not having a good day or something, like I'll go to a rave and by the end of it I feel great because like the stimulation of the dance music and the repetitiveness like helps me like work through my thoughts, and that's kind of what we designed that night to be, like a space to dance and come together and forget about things, but also like have space to work through your thoughts. If that's something that you wanted to do in the crowd, like you could do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that all sounds amazing. It's like, it's a really cool, like, innovative idea to like, just like, as you said, like, it's a completely like twist on like what the DJ and live scene is at the moment, and I think it's a really cool thing you're doing.
Thank you.
Is there like, were there like inspirations behind it? Because I can kind of imagine this being something that you want us to do for a while, sort of blend those two passions together.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things. Like, so first of all, there's a harpist called Emily Hopkins, and she's great, and she's got a YouTube channel, and she just puts harp pedals into harps and stuff, like just plays it as an electronic instrument rather than a classical. And so I reached out to her without expecting a reply, but she got back to me and gave me quite a bit of advice, and that was so. Always try your luck reaching out to people, they might reply. And I spoke a bit about Elka and John Hopkins earlier, and I've seen both of their live sets that have classical influences that go into electronic music. And I went to see John Hopkins with my mum, and it started off with a string quartet and a piano, and then it went really heavy and he went on the decks. And it was in a church, and I've blown away. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And I said to myself, like, well, I'm gonna do something like that, I think.
One thing that you're doing soon, I think it will actually just been by the time this comes out, but you're playing a gig with Elka, who you just immediately like burst out with a grin.
I can't believe it.
Tell me a bit. How did that happen? Tell me a bit more about that.
So this is at Meraki, and I've played at Meraki before, but I've never been booked by Meraki as the club. I've been booked by private promoters at the club. And I saw on their Instagram that she was playing here, and I was like, oh my God. So I reached out and I said, hi, I'd really like to support Elka. She's one of my biggest influences, and I play her music quite a lot. And they said, okay, send us a mix. And so I was like working on this mix, and I was like, I planned it out a lot. Like sometimes you can fly through a mix and you won't plan it out much, but this one was just like things weren't fitting, and I was thinking of paying a lot more attention to the key and the narrative. That's a big thing for me in DJing, is the narrative of a set. And they sent me another message saying, hey, like, have you got that mix? And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, it's coming. I just haven't finished recording it yet. And they said, oh, like, we didn't realize you were recording it just for this. Like, that's like we really appreciate the effort. And then they asked me what my like promotions are looking like right now. And I said, well, I run the DJ Society and I'm part of Queensway. And they asked if we wanted to do it as a Queensway collab, because Elka is queer and has a record label called It's Femme Culture. So kind of wanted like queer female lineup, or like non-binary or LGBTQIA+. So it was like, do you want to just do it as a collab? So then I spoke to the founder of Queensway, Tash Evans, and I was like, do you want to do this? Because I really do. And then she was like, yeah, let's do it. So it's Queensway, Meraki, and it's Elka, and we've got myself on, Luna the Frenchie, and Sakers. So all female lineup, which is very exciting.
You excited?
I'm so excited.
I can tell you're excited.
I'm handing over to her as well, so
oh, that's awesome.
It's really, really good.
So you, just to kind of wrap things up, you've had like a really amazing journey so far, like building from like lockdown starting DJing to now like playing some of these bigger shows and like really kind of building momentum. I just wanted to like, what are your like plans for the future? Is sort of DJing, freelance, that kind of stuff? Is that what you want to do sort of full time after you graduate?
I don't think that's going to be an immediate thing after I graduate. Like sometimes you break and then that's fine. But I think I will have a bit of a portfolio career. I work as a teaching DJing with Queensway. So I'd like to stay part of Queensway, and I have a wedding collective with Lucy McQuillan, and it's called Secret Garden. So I'll probably be doing like weddings and functions on the harp, DJing, and I'd like to be involved in community-based projects as well. So I think I would obviously like to be a freelance DJ and be touring and releasing albums, but
Doing sort of different freelance stuff.
yeah.
So DJing being one of them, and
Yeah.
a lot of other stuff. No, I think that's perfectly normal, and a lot of people do that. So I wouldn't worry about that. But, if you were gonna narrow it down, is DJing the thing that you would wanna? If you could make one of them full time, what would you make full time?
I think I'd rather play harp than DJing. That's like, I don't know. That's a hard question. I love them both. That's why I put them together. No, actually, that's a lie. If I had to pick one thing, it would be DJing. I love the energy and I love the crowds and the community.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the perfect compromise is taking the band where you're playing harp and doing electronic music and taking that through the roof. I guess that's probably
plan.
the end goal.
Maybe, we'll see.